I love Myers-Briggs personality type. What I want as a personality type professional is a system that enables people to really capture their attention immediately. Something that enables them to understand themselves so that they can understand others and live their lives in a better way. So for the next few minutes, I'd like to introduce you to the personality puzzle. I'd like to explain what it is. I'd like to explain also how it works and what differences it can make to you as a personality type professional. What is the personality puzzle? Well, it's a set of cards. It's a set of cards that enables you to have a conversation with your client so that they can find their best fit type, their true personality type. It's not online, it's a person-to-person conversation, and these are getting quite rare these days. There's two versions of the cards. One of them's for adults, typically used in a business setting, but maybe in other places as well, and the other for teenagers. Important to help them understand who they are and what's important to them. Let's just take a look at the front card. You can use the front card to explain the whole system because you can take a look at each of the 4 scales, and as you'll see that there are symbols for each of the preferences, and these are really important to help people memorise and understand and take in the information. There are also 8 preference cards. This happens to be the one for extroversion. There's one for each of the preference cards. On the front that you can see that there's the main symbol, and then there's a scattering of words which explain that particular preference, and on the back you've got some more information about how extroversion looks in action in the workplace and communication. In addition, there are 16 whole type descriptions. In the adult version they will cover things that are typically important to them in the business world, and for teens it's what's important to them at home, at school and with their friendship. But the booklet is actually a really important part of the whole resource, because what that tells you is how to use the puzzle, but also it indicates how you can use the puzzle for different types. Because when you explain type to somebody, you're going to use it from the perspective of your own type. And obviously the clients that you have are going to be very different. So for example, if you're speaking as an ENFP, then you're going to be wanting to answer the sort of question of how exciting are the possibilities of using type. This is just one example, but there are many, many others in the book, and it really helps you to be effective as a type professional. There are many ways that you can use it, but typically what I would do is take a client through all 4 of the preference scales and do an explanation, which can actually take up to about half an hour for each, but might be shorter than that. And what I ask them to do is to cast their eyes over the words that are on each of the preference cards and to make a selection as to which is their preference, which attracts them most. Once a client has made a selection of their preference, what I would do is pick up the cards and put the non-preferred card just underneath the card that they have chosen as their preference. This is a great way to show that we use both preferences, but one is more available to us, one is on top. As the client makes their choices, you can build up a visual image of the type as well as the alpha code. And these symbols are really important. They're important to help the client remember and understand what each of those mean. So when they're happy with their type preference selection, I show you the whole type description. And then we might go through some of the key important factors that are going to be relevant to them in their lives. You can also use the cards to help describe how the preferences combine. For example, how function pairs work together, how type dynamics gives you your dominant to inferior functions, and how this works through life. Explaining cognitive processes becomes much easier as the symbols and the cards can create the visual, and the language you use adds to these to complete the picture. The personality puzzle is perfect for one-on-one interpretations, and also with a little bit of practice you can use them with groups. You can use the personality puzzle both with or without a questionnaire. There are occasions when you simply don't have the time or the money or the opportunity to fill out a form. In these cases, the personality puzzle can be used on its own with great effect. If you're using a questionnaire, it might not actually be giving you your best fit type. What you tend to do when you're completing questionnaires is to complete them in the context of where you are on that day. With a personality puzzle, you're looking at your whole world experience, your whole life, and that will give you a far higher accuracy rate. I'm delighted to say that the personality puzzle is now being used by type practitioners and professionals all over the world. They're used by coaches, counsellors, psychologists, in HR departments, through business managers. Also, the teenage puzzle is being used by teachers, educators, parents and people who are looking at youth groups or youth in any situation.
So often I have clients who've already learned something about personality type, and maybe they even think they know their four-letter code. The personality puzzle is wonderful for a natural conversation with them to just review the different preference pairs and what they really mean, and have the client again think through, what do I prefer to do? What should I do? What do I have to do at work? And it's a very natural way for them to learn again all the richness that goes behind that four-letter code before we delve into what we're going to do with it.
As an MBTI master practitioner, I find these cards to be very useful in my work as a coach, and I wouldn't go to a session without them in my briefcase.
When exploring and discovering personality type in this way, there's always a high quality outcome. In terms of engagement and accuracy, and actually just pure enjoyment, the personality puzzle is a great way to discover about personality type. It's also a good starting point for an excellent conversation. So my favourite part of the whole interpretation actually comes at the end. And at this point I hand over all the preference cards to the clients and I say, now you have a go. You really use these preference cards to find the personality type of somebody who's significant in your world. And then they get quite excited. There's many aha moments, and it's extremely rewarding as a professional to see that the learning has actually happened and they've understood personality type both for themselves and for other people in their world. You can use it anytime, any place and anywhere. It is absolutely the portable personality type assessment. You don't need to have any cables, any computers, batteries, nothing. All you need is the set of cards and away you go. They're high quality laminated cards. You can write on them, you can wipe what you've written off. It's also very cost effective. Once you've bought it once, you can use it over and over again. In conclusion, the personality puzzle is both simple and effective. It's a better outcome for both the professional and the client. From a professional's point of view, it allows you to be highly effective. From the client's point of view, it allows them to learn and understand how they can use personality type, put it to good use in their world, and remember it in the days and the years to come.